Hello everybody, welcome back to the Grandma's Channel, and welcome back to another movie review. And the movie I'm reviewing today is a sequel that I never thought was gonna happen. Like, when they first announced this was coming out, Black Phone 2 ringing in 2025 release date, I was like, I'm pretty sure I watched that first Black Phone movie in the cinema and witnessed that grabber dude get fucking killed off. Like, what the fuck? What could they possibly do with a sequel? Well, you know that Freddy Krueger guy, that guy who, like, kills people in their dreams, he terrorizes them while they sleep and stuff, he does all that weird shit. And then you got the grabber guy who kidnaps children and terrorizes them and then murders them. Put that together. Black Phone 2. I think you and I can agree that we were pretty baffled by the fact that we were actually getting a Black Phone sequel. Like, I get that first movie did pretty fucking well, but, like, what else could they possibly do? Well, Finny and Gwen, the siblings, are back once again. Gwen's dream powers are going a lot crazier and going to some really dark places. And, of course, the grabber, played by Ethan Hawke, is back. Definitely dead, but he is back. Fucking Nightmare on Elm Street style, like, goddamn. But I'm not gonna lie, I honestly wasn't that excited for this movie. Despite the trailers looking actually really cool and intriguing, I just wasn't that excited for this movie because I was one of the few people that found that first Black Phone movie to be kind of underwhelming and a bit disappointing. Like, it had a great premise. They did some cool stuff with that premise, with, the whole, like, thing with the boy communicating with the grabber's previous victims and stuff, and they did some good stuff with it, but I just felt kind of underwhelmed by it and kind of expected a little more, and overall just felt the movie was kind of mid. So, yeah, I was not that excited for Black Phone 2, but my little brother, who really liked the first Black Phone, really wanted to go see the sequel, and I was like, well, fuck it. I mean, it really is the only interesting horror movie coming out in Spooktober, so I thought, fuck it, let's go see the Black Phone 2 and give it a shot. So I just got back from seeing it. What did I think of Black Phone 2? It was better than the first movie. I liked it quite a bit. I liked it more than the first movie. Now, no, it is not a perfect movie. There are things I wasn't crazy about, and I was a little frustrated with, like pacing issues and stuff like that. We'll get into later, but for right now, I'll talk about some of the good stuff. I'll talk about some of the returning characters first. Finny, once again played by Thames. He's definitely more of the secondary main character in this movie. He still plays a big part in this movie, but he's definitely not the main character. With this movie, he's dealing with some PTSD and trauma from everything that he went through in the first movie, which, to me, trauma is kind of becoming a bit of a cliche in horror movies nowadays. It's kind of getting really repetitive, and that's kind of his whole character in this movie. He's dealing with a lot of rage, anger, and fear with, everything that he went through. They at least give him a somewhat satisfying conclusion at the end of this movie, but yeah, that was kind of just his whole character, was just trauma and PTSD and, dealing with everything that he went through in the first movie. He still had some funny moments, especially with Sister Gwen. They had some really, really nice moments together. I thought they were great together. I can't say he was the most interesting character in this movie. I don't know. He was still good. Thames did a good job playing him, but I just don't think he was, I guess, the most interesting character, since he's kind of just dealing with the trauma of everything that he went through in the first movie. But I still enjoyed him quite a bit. The main character in this movie is Gwen, played by Madeleine McGraw, if that's how you say her name. She was really good in this movie. She is, once again, really fucking good. Like, the actress who plays Gwen is just fucking awesome, dude. Like, I remember seeing the first Black Phone, and I was just kind of shocked by how actually, like, genuinely really good she was as an actress, a young actress. And yeah, she was really good in this movie as well. She's given some really good stuff to do, like emotional parts where she's able to, like, really burst out into tears and do some really good shit. And yeah, she was once again really fucking good in this movie. And yeah, we get a lot of sequences of her in, the creepy dream sequences that we kind of got in the first movie. We get a lot more of that in this movie. When they did stuff with that, it was, like, really eerie and creepy, and I thought it was honestly done way better in this movie than it was the first movie. Like, don't get me wrong, it was cool when they did in the first movie, but in this movie, it felt eerie. The music that they played in certain parts was also very creepy, and I thought, honestly, it was done a lot better in this movie. So that was good shit. And Madeleine McGraw dealt with all those scenes really fucking good. She was just awesome. Even the abusive dad from the first movie comes back in this, and I was like, oh, it's kind of cool, getting to see these characters again and seeing what they're up to after, like, 3 years since the first movie came out. It was pretty neat. And, there's new characters as well. One that I'll mention, there's a boy who has a bit of a thing going on with Gwen. He ties into a character who was in the first Black Phone. I won't say who it was, I guess, because no spoilers, I guess. But other than that, he's kind of just there. He does stuff in the movie. He helps the characters with stuff, and that's about it. He's just kind of there. But yeah, he was alright. He was likable. He was just kind of there. But yeah, let's talk about Ethan Hawke, who plays the Grabber once again. The Grabber in this movie, when he is on screen and when he is given stuff to do in this movie, he's pretty fucking awesome. Like, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but like the Grabber in the first movie, I was pretty underwhelmed by. Like, I was kind of hoping he would do a little more in the movie. Like, don't get me wrong, Ethan Hawke was really good and he was intimidating, but I don't know, I was kind of expecting a little more action from him, just a teeny bit more. In this movie, he is given a lot more to do. Like, when he is on screen, he does some pretty gnarly stuff in this movie. It is a lot of fun, especially in the third act. He does some stuff. I mean, it was already shown in the trailers, like, when he's got ripping off the mask, showing his fucking teeth and stuff. I was like, oh, this is so epic. So, thankfully, they give the Grabber some stuff to do in this movie, some really gnarly stuff when he is on screen. It is really fun to watch. He was really, really good. And, with the snow and stuff, the whole snowy setting really makes him look even cooler and stuff. That's kind of a nice add-on to the movie as well. The whole snowy setting with this movie, I think, was also really nice and a great look for this movie, and I thought that was awesome. So, yeah, Ethan Hawke as a Grabber is really, he's great in this movie. He's given some pretty neat stuff to do when he's on screen. It is fucking awesome. Even if he definitely has less screen time in this movie than he did in the first movie, they do some cool stuff with him, some Nightmare on Elm Street type shit. But he definitely has less screen time in this movie than he did in the first movie, and I was kind of let down by. But when he's on screen, he's pretty fucking scary, so, I'll give it that. And they definitely amp up the blood and the gore and the violence in this movie. Like, the first movie was very tame and honestly didn't really feel like it had an R rating. Like, there was really only one bloody scene where he, hits his brother in the head and a bit of blood and stuff, but that was about it. And even though that whole scene with him getting hit in the head looked really fake, and I was like, why does that look so weird? In this movie, they amp up the blood and the gore, and they even do some really gnarly stuff, specifically with kids, that I was kind of baffled by. I was like, oh my god. It was, it was crazy. They do some really gnarly stuff with kids in this movie, and it is shocking. It is very, very shocking. So, the blood, the gore, if you were disappointed that the first movie didn't have enough, this movie amps it up, and it is great. It is really, really good. And, there are some also just genuinely really intense scenes in this movie. Just like I mentioned before, with the whole dream sequences with Gwen and stuff. There are some scenes where I couldn't look. I had to look away because it felt like it was bracing up to a jump scare, and, sometimes it would happen, sometimes it wouldn't. And it was intense. Those scenes, those dream sequences, and the grainy, footage that, director Scott Derrickson likes to play with because, he directed Sinister and the first Black Phone. He likes to do that type of stuff with these horror movies, and he does it once again in this. And it's done really well, and honestly, definitely made it more enjoyable, watching it on the big screen. It looked really, really nice. Honestly, compared to watching it at home, I think it looked a lot better watching it on the big screen. It was creepy, intense, and it was so damn good. It was handled really fucking well in this movie. And I guess as a bonus, the movie does dive into some stuff that was hinted at in the first movie, but barely explored, and we get to see more of it in this movie. I won't say it because the movie kind of keeps it as like a secret, a spoiler, so I won't say in this review, but there were things that were hinted at in the first movie, and they explore a lot more in this movie, and I was very happy with that, and honestly, to me at least, made this sequel a lot more necessary, because we're not getting into spoilers. That's all I can really say about the movie positively. So now it's time to talk about some of my issues with the movie. The movie really at times slows down and becomes a bit of a drag to sit through. There was just too many scenes of people kind of just explaining stuff, even explaining things that we kind of already learned and already know. Why is this character explaining this when we already know that? So yeah, the movie at times really does slow down, and it's quite annoying. And even the movie has some pretty bad pacing issues. One scene in particular, it's a really intense scene. A character's with the Grabber, and he's doing some creepy shit. And then all of a sudden, the scene just kind of abruptly cuts into a scene of the character talking to Finney or whatever. And I was like, dude, that was going so well. That was such a genuinely intense, creepy scene. And then you just abruptly cut to another scene. I'm like, what? We were going so well. What the fuck happened? So yeah, the movie has some pacing issues, and it really slows down and kind of drags for a bit. I'm like, when are we gonna see some stuff with the Grabber again? It's kind of been a while. When are we gonna see him again? So that was a bit disappointing, and I was a bit unhappy with that. And there is this new character that I feel like we spend way too much time on. I think his name was Armando, and I really couldn't care for this character. Don't get me wrong, I didn't. Not saying I didn't like him. He was somewhat likable and had some nice moments with Finney and whatever, but they gave him some dialogue, a lot of dialogue of him talking about shit, and I didn't care. And it's just kind of one of the few parts in the movie where it really, really slows down, and I just didn't care what I was watching. It was kind of just sitting there like, when is the movie gonna get interesting again? I'm waiting. It's taking its time. So thing that I mentioned before is, the grabber's less screen time in this movie, despite doing some really cool stuff in this movie. He's just given less screen time compared to how much he had in the first movie, which was really a big letdown with the whole Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger type shit that they do with the grabber. Give him more fucking screen time, man. Embrace it more. And I feel like they could have done a teeny bit more, just a little bit more. And like I mentioned before, Finney's whole thing going on with his PTSD and trauma or whatever, I thought, been there, done that. We've seen it so many times with the whole trauma shit. It's a bit generic, and I was, didn't really care about that whole thing. I feel like, I don't know, just wasn't as interesting as I hoped it would be. I thought maybe they'd do more of it, but not really. I don't know. I feel like they didn't really do enough of it, but I don't know. That's just me. But other than that, as someone who was pretty unsatisfied with that first movie, I was very pleased with Black Phone 2. It is a worthy sequel. We get to explore stuff that was hinted at in the first movie and get to see more of it, which I was very happy with. The grabber, Ethan Hawke, is given some really cool stuff to do with the whole Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street, aesthetic. It was really, really nice. I really like Finney and Gwen, the siblings. They're just really nice characters, some good performances. They definitely kind of fumbled a little bit with the new characters. I really didn't care about any of them. But other than that, they amp up the blood and gore, and, like a sequel should. And, yeah, overall, I really was pretty pleased with this movie. At least as someone who was a bit unhappy with that first Black Phone, I was very happy with this. It's Spooktober, it's Halloween time, you need a horror movie to go out and see in the cinema. This is honestly your best choice. There's not a lot coming out this month, so honestly, if you just need a horror movie to go out and see, this is honestly the best pick. So there's that as well. I definitely recommend you go see it, especially if you were a bit underwhelmed by the first Black Phone. I would say give this movie a shot, and you might appreciate it at least a little more than the first movie. Alrighty guys, this is going to be the end of my review of Black Phone 2. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comment section below if you've seen Black Phone 2, if you liked it, if you maybe appreciated it a little more than the first movie, let me know. And yeah, we're like dead smack in the middle of October right now. It's gone by really fast. So I want to try and get out some more spooky content before the month comes to a close. So look out for that, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye. Oh shit. Hold on. Oh, damn, I'm getting a call. 1 second. Yellow. That's what you do. You just hang up. Goddamn characters. Why do you always have to answer the call? Just fucking hang up. Don't talk to them. Like, fucking, hey, stupid characters.